I never thought much about touch until Maya. Before her, a hand on my shoulder was just a hand on my shoulder. A hug was just a hug. But with Maya, every point of contact felt like it carried a secret message I was desperately trying to decode. We met at my sister's wedding, of all places. I was the maid of honor, stressed out of my mind, and she was the photographer my sister hired last minute when the original one got food poisoning. I remember being annoyed at first, thinking, great, now we have to adjust to someone new on the actual wedding day. But then Maya walked into the bridal suite with her camera bag and that easy smile, and something in my chest did this strange little flip. She had this way of moving through the chaos like she was dancing to music only she could hear. While everyone else was panicking about the timeline and the flowers and whether Uncle Jim would behave himself, Maya just glided around capturing moments, completely calm. I found myself watching her instead of doing my maid of honor duties. The way she'd tuck her dark hair behind her ear when she was concentrating. How she'd bite her bottom lip slightly before pressing the shutter. I told myself I was just fascinated by her professionalism. I told myself a lot of things that day. The moment that changed everything happened right before the ceremony. My necklace, this delicate gold chain my grandmother had given me, had gotten twisted somehow in all the commotion. I was standing in front of the mirror in the venue's hallway, trying to fix it with increasingly frustrated fingers, when Maya appeared beside me. "Can I help?" she asked, and her voice was soft, almost musical. I nodded, too flustered to speak, and turned my back to her. That's when I felt her fingers at the nape of my neck, carefully working the chain free from where it had tangled. Her touch was so gentle, so deliberate. I could feel her breath, warm against my skin. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure she could hear it. She got the necklace untangled, but instead of stepping back, she stayed close. Her fingers traced along the chain, adjusting how it lay against my collarbone. Then, so slowly it felt like time had stopped, she ran one finger along the line of my collarbone from the center outward, smoothing the necklace into place. The touch was feather light, but it sent electricity racing through my entire body. "Just fixing your necklace," she murmured, and when I met her eyes in the mirror, there was something in her expression that made my breath catch. A knowing look. A question. A dare, maybe. Then she smiled, stepped back, and walked away to photograph the groomsmen, leaving me standing there trying to remember how to breathe normally. I made it through the ceremony somehow, though I couldn't tell you a single word the officiant said. I was too busy being hyper-aware of everywhere Maya was, tracking her movement through the crowd like she was magnetic north, and I was a compass that had just discovered its purpose. Every time she pointed her camera in my direction, I felt exposed, like she could see through all my carefully constructed defenses to the confusion underneath. At the reception, I tried to focus on my duties. I gave my speech, made sure my sister was happy, coordinated with the caterers, but I kept finding excuses to be near Maya, asking if she needed anything, offering to show her the best angles for photos, making suggestions I had no business making since I knew nothing about photography. She'd just smile at me with that same knowing look and say, "Thank you. That's helpful," in a way that made me feel like we were having an entirely different conversation beneath the words. The real torture started during the dancing. Maya was capturing candid shots of people on the dance floor, and I was standing at the edge, watching, when she lowered her camera and looked directly at me. "You should be out there," she said. "It's a wedding. You're supposed to dance." "I don't really dance," I said, which was a lie. I loved dancing. I just couldn't imagine doing it while she was watching. "That's a shame," she said, and there was something in her tone, something playful and challenging that made my skin feel too tight. Then she lifted her camera again and moved away, and I felt the loss of her attention like a physical thing. Later, much later, when the reception was winding down and most people had left, I found her outside on the venue's terrace. She was alone, sitting on the stone wall, her camera resting beside her. The night was warm, and there were string lights overhead casting everything in a soft, golden glow. She looked up when she heard my footsteps and smiled. "Shouldn't you be inside?" she asked. "Maid of honor duties and all." "I've done my duties," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded. My sister's happy. Everyone's had a good time. I think I'm allowed a break. Fair enough, Maya said. She patted the wall beside her. Want to sit? I did. I sat close enough that our shoulders almost touched, close enough that I could smell her perfume, something subtle and woodsy that made me want to lean closer. We sat in silence for a moment, looking out at the gardens, and I tried to organize my thoughts into something coherent. You're really good at what you do, I finally said. The photos, I mean. You made everyone look beautiful. Thank you, she said. That's the goal. Though some people are easier to photograph than others. What do you mean? I asked, even though something in me already knew the answer. Some people are just naturally photogenic, she said. The camera loves them. You're one of those people. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. I'm not, I protested. I always look awkward in photos. Not in mine, Maya said, and she turned to look at me fully. In mine, you look exactly like you are, beautiful and trying very hard to pretend you're not. The air between us felt charged, dangerous. I should have laughed it off, made a joke, changed the subject. Instead, I heard myself ask, why did you really help me with my necklace earlier? Maya's smile was slow, deliberate. Because it was tangled, she said, and because I wanted an excuse to touch you. Was that okay? My heart was hammering again. Yes, I whispered. It was okay. Good, she said, because I've been wanting to do it again all night. She reached out then, her fingers finding that same spot at my collarbone, tracing the line of the necklace again. But this time, there was no pretense. This time, we both knew exactly what was happening. Her touch lingered, warm and sure, and I felt like every nerve ending in my body had migrated to that single point of contact. I started, then stopped, unsure how to finish. I've never felt like this before. I finally managed. About anyone, let alone about a woman, let alone about someone I just met. Maya's hand moved from my collarbone to my jaw, cupping my face gently. That's okay, she said. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You just have to decide if you want me to kiss you or not. The world narrowed to just us, just this moment. I could hear music still playing faintly from inside the venue, could hear my own heartbeat loud in my ears, could feel the warmth of her hand against my skin, and I realized that I'd been deciding all day, maybe from the moment she first walked into the bridal suite. Every glance, every conversation, every time I found an excuse to be near her, I'd been moving toward this moment. Yes, I said, I want that. I want you to kiss me. She leaned in slowly, giving me time to change my mind, but I didn't want to. I wanted this more than I'd wanted anything in a long time. When her lips met mine, it was soft at first, tentative, a question. But when I responded, when I leaned into her and let my hand come up to rest on her shoulder, the kiss deepened. It was like something inside me that had been locked away suddenly opened up, and I understood for the first time what people meant when they talked about chemistry, about connection, about feeling like you'd found something you didn't even know you'd been missing. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. Maya's eyes were bright, searching my face. You okay? She asked. I paused, trying to find words adequate to what I was feeling. I'm really okay. Better than okay. I'm just, wow. Yeah, Maya said, laughing softly. Wow, pretty much covers it. We sat there for a while longer, talking quietly. She told me about how she'd known she was gay since she was 14, how it had taken her a few years to come out, but once she did, everything made more sense. I told her about how I'd always thought I was straight, how I'd had boyfriends, but none of it ever felt quite right, how I'd convinced myself that maybe I just hadn't met the right person yet. How maybe I'd been looking in the wrong direction all along. You don't have to label it if you don't want to, Maya said. You don't have to have everything figured out tonight. You just have to be honest about what you feel. What I feel, I said slowly, is like I want to see you again, after tonight. I want to know if this is real or just wedding magic or what. It's real, Maya said, and the certainty in her voice made something settle in my chest. At least it is for me. and I definitely want to see you again." We exchanged numbers before the night ended. She had to pack up her equipment, and I had to help my sister with last-minute things, but we kept gravitating back to each other. Little touches, hands brushing, smiles that felt like secrets. When she finally left, she kissed me again, quick and sweet, right there in the parking lot where anyone could have seen. I didn't care. I was too busy feeling like my entire world had shifted on its axis. The next morning, I woke up to a text from her. "Good morning, beautiful. Last night wasn't a dream, right? We really kissed on that terrace?" I smiled at my phone like an idiot. "We really did," I typed back. "And I really want to do it again." We met for coffee that afternoon, then dinner the next day. Then she came over to my apartment and we stayed up until 3 in the morning talking about everything and nothing. She showed me some of the photos from the wedding, and I saw myself through her eyes, caught in unguarded moments, and I looked happy. I looked like someone who was on the verge of something wonderful and didn't quite know it yet. Our first real date was a week later. She took me to this little art gallery downtown, and we wandered through looking at photographs and paintings, and she explained what she loved about different compositions and lighting techniques. I mostly just loved watching her talk about things she was passionate about. The way her whole face lit up, how she'd gesture with her hands when she got excited. At one point, she grabbed my hand to pull me toward a particular photograph she wanted me to see, and then she just kept holding it, our fingers interlaced, like it was the most natural thing in the world. We were standing in front of a black and white photograph of two women dancing when she turned to me and said, "I'm really glad your sister's photographer got food poisoning." "That's terrible," I said, but I was laughing. "I know," Maya said, "I'm a horrible person, but I can't help it. I'm really glad I met you." "I'm glad too," I said, and I squeezed her hand. "Even though you've completely turned my life upside down." "Is that a bad thing?" she asked, and there was a vulnerability in her voice that made my chest ache. "No," I said firmly. "It's the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Maybe ever." That night, she walked me to my car, and we stood there in the parking garage, neither of us quite ready to say goodbye. The fluorescent lights were harsh and unflattering, and there was nothing romantic about the setting, but I didn't care. I just wanted to be near her. "Can I take you out again?" Maya asked. "Maybe next weekend?" "You can take me out whenever you want," I said. "I'm not playing hard to get here. I really like you." "I really like you too," she said. And then she was kissing me again, and I was pressing her back against my car, and it was hungry and desperate and perfect. When we finally broke apart, we were both grinning like fools. That was 3 months ago. Now, Maya's toothbrush is in my bathroom and half her clothes are in my closet, and we're talking about her officially moving in. My sister jokes that she's the best matchmaker ever, even though it was completely accidental. My parents are still adjusting, but they're trying, and that's what matters. My friends have been amazing, supportive and excited, and only occasionally obnoxious about how cute we are together. But the best part, the part I never expected, is how natural it all feels. How right. I spent so long thinking I had myself figured out, and it turns out I was wrong about something fundamental. And instead of being scary, it's been liberating. Maya didn't change who I am. She just helped me see myself more clearly. Sometimes, when we're lying in bed at night, I'll trace my finger along her collarbone, mirroring what she did to me that first day. "Just fixing your necklace," I'll say, even though she's not wearing one. And she'll laugh and pull me closer and kiss me, and I'll think about how lucky I am. How a tangled necklace and a bold photographer and one perfect moment on a terrace changed everything. Love isn't always what you expect. Sometimes it shows up in a form you never anticipated, catches you completely off guard, and rewrites everything you thought you knew about yourself. And if you're really lucky, if you're brave enough to lean into it instead of running away, it becomes the best plot twist of your life. I'm still figuring things out, still learning what it means to love a woman, to be loved by one. But I'm figuring it out with Maya, and that makes all the difference. Every touch still feels electric. Every kiss still makes my heart race. And every time she looks at me like I'm the most beautiful thing she's ever seen, I believe her a little more. So yeah, she ran her finger along my collarbone and said she was fixing my necklace. But what she really did was fix something in me I didn't even know was broken. She showed me that love doesn't have a single shape, that attraction doesn't follow rules, and that sometimes the most unexpected connection is the one you've been waiting for all along.